It's been now weeks since the wandering incident. He's quite popular with the folks because of his weird antics. He's usually doing things like connecting a toaster to a lamp with a motion detecting camera, or making a working waving arm out of concrete just because he could. But that's not the only weird thing happening in this little town. There's a new exhibition in the museum. Basically, a room that can show you your deepest fears, wrote Julia in her diary. She stood up and went downstairs. The Wandering was watching the news, specifically the new attraction in the local Museum of the Mind. His face was less silly and more serious. After turning off the TV, he said, lads, who wants to come with me to a museum? I've got no money. Mama, can I come too? Said Olivia. She really wanted to go to this museum, since she never was there before. Julia sighed. I guess it's going to be a museum day. Honey, would you come with us? Arts and Pistonov. The Wandering Stories. In Timor, veritas. It was sunny outside, and the road to the museum wasn't so long. So, what exactly is the Museum of the Mind? Asked the Wandering, since it was his first day in the town. Basically, it's a collection of studies and experiments about the human physique, said Michael. Say, how weird is the study? Asked the Wandering. Well, I'd say it is quite real and true, said Julie. But then, she continued, say, why are we going here? Just so that you can learn how to be human and to kill us and replace us? Intriguing conclusions, but no. Firstly, no, I don't want to impersonate you. I've got better things to do. And secondly, there's something wrong with this new attraction. What was it called again? Terror show or what? Said the Wandering. Impatiently, he continued his rhetorical question with a, I've seen many creatures in the universes, and I'd say that this tech is usually used as a torture chamber in 3 societies: the Kargolols, the Gnogurgurgers, and the Raptiroids. They use different techniques to do the thing, so the question is, who was it? Couldn't we just make it because we're so good at making useful gadgets? Asked Olivia. Intriguing conclusions, although there are some plot holes. I think of the effects after getting of worst fear, paranoia, potential trauma, and plausible aggression. Plus, let's not forget the year you'll develop mind-shown gadgets is the year of 2096. That's 78 years, explained the Wandering. The museum itself looks rather uninviting. A dark grey box with minimum windows and just one door. But what was on the inside was more intriguing. Surrealistic architecture in the flesh, in the concrete, but we're building through. Stairs that led to nowhere, doors half stuck in the walls, paintings of creatures unknown to man, although the pictures looked too familiar to the Wandering. So he said to everyone that he'll go and talk to the boss who runs this place. So I've been looking at these pictures here at your museum, and some of them look familiar to me, said the Wandering. Yeah, which one? Is that so? Which ones? Said the boss. Sector 3, the 4th stairs to nowhere. They look like the Gnogurgers. Funny thing is, you won't see the Gnogurgers until the 23rd century, so how? How do you know? Said the Wandering. So sounded less light and more deep and quiet. What do you mean? The boss got scared. Tell me, how did you create those creatures? The Wandering's demeanor becoming more and more unhinged. Please, don't hurt me. The boss sounded more concerned and scared. Tell me now, the Wandering continued. Please, I was only told to tell people like you that you must find the answers in the fear chamber, the boss said, scared and hunched back. The Wandering aggressively ventured back to the smiths. He walked back to the smiths, changing his demeanor back to his silly and strange, only to see a letter where the smiths were. It read, "Dear, you, cease this investigation. We've kidnapped your associates. They're in the fear room. You've got about 89 macromaglos before they become insane. But oh jolly no, we've locked the doors." This style of writing is very much to the Gnokkers, the race of cloned war profiteers, always making a gadget to create more chaos. But why here? What do they need? These questions were racing in his head. The fear room was in the basement of the building. It took him about 15 minutes to get there, but as he got there, he could hear the machine activate. He quickly used his sonic multi-tool to make it stop. He only had 4 minutes to get everyone out and annihilate the Gnoggerger threat. There were 3 doors, each handling the smiths. It wasn't hard to get them out, but then the Gnoggers started activating, whilst the Wandering was in the same chamber as Michael. Although the Gnoggers had claws and 1,000 eyes, the Wandering one used only his kicks and uppercuts. But the fight was too long. The machine had started. The doors were locked, trapping the Wandering and Michael Smith together. "Get yourself to the nearest bench," said the Wandering. Michael did just that. The bench was the only place in the chamber where the fear-making of the machine didn't work. Whilst Michael survived, the Wandering had to face his fears. The floor became crimson red sand. The walls and ceiling became orange skies. There was a ginormous fire in the distance. There was a silhouette coming from the fire. As it came closer, it resembled the Wandering, only seconds before he crashed that fateful day. He walked up to the new Wandering, saying how he's a menace and must be locked. The new Wandering said by that logic, the silhouette should be too. After some witty bantering of the both Wandering, decided to do the thing they started. After which the real one turned to Michael and said, "We need to go, I'll explain everything later." As they walked back, he explained, "So the Doggers were trying to do what they did for 2 reasons. 1, money from another species by making a weapon of mass hysteria to make the humans self-destruct, which is kind of morbid, don't you think? And the second one is money from the humans to not do the weapon because no species tries to self-annihilate itself." Casting. The narrator, Artem Pistunov. Storyboard, Artem Pistunov. Artist, Artem Pistunov. Sound operator, Artem Pistunov. Characters owned by Artem Pistunov. Thanks to Artem Pistunov. Special thanks to the viewer. RT8 Productions. Stay safe.